welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, My Wife Tried to Return to Escorting in Secret and I Need Advice. And a big shout out to Eli for sending me this story. And guys, this is about a guy who 9 years ago hired a gal for his an hour of fun, if you will. And long story short, very foolishly, he started dating her, got in a relationship with her, and eventually married her. And clearly this guy is not Richard Gere, and she's not Julia Roberts, and this isn't the movie Pretty Woman, because it doesn't exactly work out too well. You're going to see that seemingly she quit the profession, got into another line of work, white-collar work, imagine that, and everything was good. But then things happened, they both lost their jobs. This is recent, so I'm assuming the layoffs have been going on in America, a lot of the big tech companies and all that. And so they're pinching pennies. And she was supposed to go back to doing a different job temporarily. And he finds evidence that guess what line of work she's returned to. No surprise there. And now he's pretty much wondering what to do, and really obviously thinking about ending it with her because he can't trust her, the cheating, betrayal, all that. And I'm doing this one as an example as, number one, you can't make this SHIT up, but also the fact that, guess what? It's not a good idea to get involved with and marry someone that was in that line of work. Okay, because there's a whole ton of problems that come along with that person, as you can probably imagine. I don't need to explain that, but you get the point. Also, as I always say, pay attention to who your girl's friends are. You're going to see that she was working with a friend of hers who's also dabbles in that line of work on the side. And to no surprise, it rubbed off on her. Gals that hang out with girls that cheat or have certain lifestyles, if you will, one way or another can rub off on her, even if she's the strongest person. So you got to pay attention to who her friends are, co-workers, all that. And of course, when somebody's cheating or betraying you in some way, it's time to cut them loose. End of story. So it starts off, says here, sorry if this is the second place I post this. The truth is, I don't know what I want. I just want advice to help me through this mess. I met my wife 9 years ago. We met as a client escort, but instantly hit it off, booked her for an hour, had amazing sex. I paid her, we went to have dinner that night, and ended up having sex all night. From then on in, I never paid her again. Well, you should have if you were careful, and that was your life, you should have left it at that. Someone that you can just casually hook up with, if you're careful and that's what you want to do. We started dating. I was okay with her escorting, and after 6 months, she told me she didn't feel comfortable escorting with our relationship, getting more serious, and she got a normal job. We ended up getting married. Smack! I should have smacked her for getting involved with her too. Dude, this is not wife material. That's very nice you met and you hit it off, and she never charged you anymore, and she eventually seemingly gave up the work and got into white-collar work, whatever the hell it is. That's very nice. That sounds like a freaking movie, but it's a bad idea, okay? You don't need that, and he's going to learn. We ended up married, ups and downs like everyone, and last year money was very tight. For reasons beyond our control, we both lost our jobs in January. It was 3 weeks out of a job before I got a job again. Okay, you got another job. Still is tight. No need to go do other activities that she supposedly left behind. In that time period, one of her friends is a single MOM with lots, and I mean lots of drama in her life. Well, not a whole lot of single MOMs that don't have a whole lot of drama in their lives, as I have found. And she invited her to a job cleaning some houses to end up paying my wife about 1/3 of what her friend told her they were going to get. And after 2 weeks of very hard work, this friend does sex work on the side. I don't judge. Well, you should judge, apparently. Because again, this is what your wife used to do. Money's all of a sudden tight. She knows what used to work to make money, but she's older now, I might add. He doesn't say how old he is. I'm assuming he met her in her 20s. Well, she's now in her 30s. Physically, she's not as appealing as she once was. She could be a hottie for her 32 or 33, but you get the point. But the friend, the drama-filled single MOM, does sex work. Good job, Mom. She introduced one of her friends to my wife, a kind of sugar daddy. And by accident, I found a conversation. going back and forth between her and this guy. They never actually got together per se, but per the conversation, but due to logistics, but they had planned and canceled a couple of times. So, he finds proof that she's talking to the sugar daddy, and they had planned to get together a few times, but it didn't work out. So, even if they didn't do the dirty deed, she's already cheating. She's already planning this behind his back. Because obviously, he married her probably with the, hey, all right, your past is behind you. I'm going to be that open-minded to be with you and believe it's over. Well, things get difficult and goes right back to the old lifestyle. That ain't cool. My take is this is cheating, as she never told me anything. Asked me if I was okay with returning to escorting and hiding stuff from me. Also, the guy proposed her a couple of trips to Disneyland, paid for, and suddenly my wife started to tell me she wanted to go with her friends to Disneyland as a girls' trip. Not something I'd be okay with, even if she was getting paid. Well, there you go, girls' trip. I want to think that a place like Disneyland, you're not going to have these scumbags hanging out on, almost like it's hallowed ground for families, but clearly not. She claims it's not because it didn't happen, because I found out, and she was doing it for us as the financial situation is extremely tight right now. Okay, times are tough, but you love your husband enough to be honest with him, and you work through it. Okay, she may not be doing the kind of work that she wants that's ideal, but you can find a way to get by, but clearly she doesn't like that. Remember, in sickness and health, richer or poorer, all that, well, clearly not. He got another job. They're getting by. It can be tight. You may not be able to go out to dinner as often as you want or go on vacation this year, but she'll find something else and they'll get back. You don't need to go back to that lifestyle, let alone cheat and plot behind his back and all that. No. I need some input here as my emotions are too strong. I'm very hurt and confused. You have a right to be. I love her, but this very much seems like betrayal to me. If she'd come to me and talked about it, it would be different. I might have said no, but would be okay with camming or OnlyFans. Smack. Well, that ain't good either, dude, but that's certainly better than some other dude's sausage in her mouth. But yeah, if she talked to him at least, had communication, is key in all relationships, he would at least have been like, okay, at least we talked about it. Also, my other take is that her friend has to be out of her life if we were going to get back together. A part of me feels like she planned the whole underpaying my wife a lot, as she has mentioned before that she gets compensated very well for getting new girls to her sugar daddy. That's interesting. He doesn't trust the friend. This guy should not be with her for many, many reasons. He gave her a chance by marrying her, even though because of what she did for a living, and look what happened. And even if he would take her back, yeah, she can't hang out with his friend anymore, but you can't trust her. Leopard doesn't change his spots. Now it says here, an update after the conversation with my wife. So we talked to her. It said I was finally able to have a in-person talk with my wife yesterday. While I stand on my position that the destination to go ahead is purely my wife's responsibility, her friend was planning to profit from this. So her so-called friend is getting a cut. She's finding these girls for these rich guys, and she's getting a cut from it. This did change my views of things, but I still don't think that I can continue the relationship, but did make me understand what my wife was going through. I'm sure she's really giving you a nice story. My wife's job lasted 5 or 6 years and had been in the white-collar, middle entry and good industry. The cleaning job that she had was not something my wife was used to doing. It was a real shock to my wife, but we needed a bit more runaway while I got another job before our savings ran out. When the job was finally done, her friend came back with a sob story of them getting underpaid by a lot. If they were supposed to get $1,600 each for the 2 weeks, she gave my wife $550. Well, this friend obviously can't be trusted, and she probably did this on purpose to lure this guy's wife into that line of work. But regardless, even if she didn't want to do cleaning or clean houses, it's temporary until she finds something else. She needed to work with her guy. The friend has been telling my wife that she didn't deserve to be cleaning houses and more shit like that. And this friend's going to get a cut of the naughty stuff. The day after she underpaid my wife was even more desperate, as we planned to pay very specific things that we could buy time. At that time, I had some very good news from a couple of interviews, but the time from them to getting hired and getting paid takes about 45 days in my industry. You'll find a way. And remember, what he's saying here is this is his wife's version of the story. It could be told bullshit. We need that money, so we didn't deplete our savings before I got paid. That's when she encouraged my wife to get in contact with the sugar daddy. And my wife was embarrassed that she could not help us and wanted to cover the money that was missing. I'm not buying all this. After I found out, my wife went to stay at her mom's house. She said that her friend kept making fun of her and tells her to use this opportunity to make a lot of money. She has other people she can introduce to my wife. My take, her friend was planning to pimp her. Well, that's exactly what she's doing, you know? And again, pay attention to who your girl or wife hangs out with. At least from our conversation, the wife doesn't want to return to escorting or sex work. She wants a regular job even if we don't get back together. For her, escorting is something she did when she was young and not what she wanted to do the rest of her life. Well, maybe that's true, but at the end of the day, look what she did when trouble came. Okay, it's like somebody that sadly was addicted to drugs and they finally gave it up. And then down the road, things get very difficult. Situations or circumstances arise that cause them in the first place, and they go right back to them because that's what they know to deal with a bad situation. And it's unfortunate, yes, but you as a man don't need that in your life. And he made the mistake of marrying someone like this. So how he handles this, who knows? But I wouldn't have gotten in this situation in the first place, as most intelligent men would. But he did. So I wouldn't be with her. And it sounds like he's obviously pretty young, probably 30s at this point, because you can't trust her. Okay, she's done this long enough. And I don't know how, honestly, with the amount of sausage going down there back in those days of work, how she can even pair bond with anybody. But who knows? Now some comments here to wrap this up. One guy says here, well, you decided to leave her, but just in case. Your wife has a few big problems. The biggest was that she lied and betrayed you, and every BS excuse she will say most likely will be another lie. Yeah. The fact that she sees sex as something she can sell is the biggest. That's why people usually avoid people who are involved in the sex industry, because they have a different view of the sex. That is 100% true. And she can endure tough times. Imagine if I say everything is great for 8 years, and then you say it's going to be tough for about 3 to 4 months max. And then it's going to be good again. But she decided that 3 to 4 months of tough times was too much, so she decided to sell herself and destroy everything. Right. And here's a question. Why didn't they have way more money put away in an emergency fund? This is why I always encourage an emergency fund. 6 months to a year if you can pull it off depending on your circumstances. And that way then you lose your job, you got a nice buffer, because people usually can get something comparable within 6 months. But a lot of Americans, yes, we can go back and forth and debate about many living paycheck to paycheck, and I get that, but a lot of people simply have no self-control when it comes to spending. And they want to live a certain lifestyle that's here, but their salaries and income is here. And they just put themselves in debt to feel better, and it's stupid. It says here, and the fact that she didn't communicate with you, if you have a partner, you're supposed to rely on them and talk with them when you're having a tough time, and they're supposed to support you and not betray you. We are not in Disney. Love isn't magic. We are not in Disney. Love isn't magical, and you need far more than love for a good relationship. You aren't a prince. She is a princess, and you need to save. This is real life. She's a grown woman, and she made her choice. Exactly. But I think this guy saw too many freaking movies. The only thing you can do now is accept the loss and work on moving on. Now the guy says here, cheaters will almost always blame someone else when they have a chance to. After all, they're innocent. I don't really want to, but yeah. We got a whole world of people that can't take accountability for their poor decisions. There's always somebody else to blame. Someone else. Blame the government, blame their neighbors, blame their ex, whatever. Your wife lied to you a lot. When they get caught, they typically cover it up by making up more lies. I wouldn't believe a shred of her story. Yeah, what I read is the story she's telling him. I just don't buy it all. Then the guy says here, yeah, my friend is an escort that cleans houses as well. But I was just going to clean, I swear. Oh no. We got stiffed in the cleaning job. How'd that happen? Uh-oh, I have a bridge to sell you. And the last one, the guy says here, I talked to a lawyer and get the divorce here. It took your wife less than 3 weeks to get back into the life. And without saying a word to you first. Maybe her friend played her. Maybe she's lying to you. But in either case, you know she's ready to go back on a moment's notice. Right now, it sounds like you don't have a lot to split up, so it should go easier. Yeah, he doesn't mention any kids or owning a house or obviously a whole lot of resources. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in this situation. So it'd be a good time to part ways. Didn't work out. He gave her a shot, but hey, lesson learned. We shall see. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. If you ever actually knew anybody that was in this situation, let's hear about it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.